Hello everyone, welcome in. Just turn that, there we go. Hello, hello. There's some kind of sound, some kind of yard work sound happening outside, so I hope that you can't hear it on your end. And I hope that you're all doing so well. Hello, welcome. Oh, hold on, let me pause something really fast. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my sound a little bit. Okay, I think we should be all good. Is my mic working? I had to replug in my mic today. All right, hello, welcome. Happy Aquarius season. And we're looking forward on Tuesday to an Aquarius new moon, which is also a solar eclipse. Solar eclipses are pretty interesting. I am one of those people of the camp that I realize it might not be, happening in such an intense way as that one where you can see it, you could see it in the sky. Like let's say, it's probably, I don't even actually know what part of the world it's happening in. Or if it's a total eclipse or not, probably not. I feel like I would have heard if it was a total eclipse. But hey, let me look it up. Aquarius, new moon, solar eclipse. I'm just going to look up the word. I'm going to look up partial. Because maybe it'll come up. Oh, okay. Creating a ring of fire effect visible in Northern Europe, Canada, and West Africa. (11 p.m.) A ring of fire solar eclipse. I wonder what that means. I know I can picture in my mind what ring of, let me know if anyone knows. Ring of fire. Total eclipse? Well, at least it's enough to see the ring of fire. Okay. Anyway, we'll get back to it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I'm kind of the camp of letting you do not Amber. I know, I'm trying to figure it out. I'm like, is this partial or total? Well, anyway, we've got quite a week ahead of us with the new moon in Aquarius and a solar eclipse somewhere in the world. I think the energy of that, though, does affect the whole world. And just to say something quickly about eclipses is that I believe that in the, in the overlap that happens, there is a sort of a portal that opens, and it is really important to focus on our inner light during solar eclipses. So perhaps today, during this time, we can, sort of prep ourselves for this new moon solar eclipse, kind of, attune ourselves to what is it right now in Aquarius season to be focusing on, what is that inner light that we want to really cultivate during that solar eclipse. And Aquarius is a really interesting sign to me because it is an individual. It's about being an individual in community and in creating new communities and new forms of communities. And a kind of a new way of being, because actually it is fairly new for humanity as a whole to be individuals, to have that individual I, and then to be putting that into community in an intentional way. And we're certainly fumbling around with that a bit, I would say. So let's go ahead and start with the flower essence that is connected to Aquarius, which is water violet. And it's interesting because water violet is a remedy for people who are somewhat aloof, who like to keep themselves separate. And, last week, or I guess 2 weeks ago, when we were talking about the Leo full moon, we were talking about this this difference in more of like an Eastern path of spirituality, which does kind of create a feeling oftentimes of isolation or of separating yourself from society or asceticism, and the Western path, which is plugging yourself into the world and really creating that change in the world, which I think is really fitting, yes, for Aquarius and also for this water violet. And last week we talked a lot about, I keep saying last week, but 2 weeks ago, we talked a lot about, now I'm losing the words. We talked a lot about, what was I going to say? I just got caught up in the like 2 week thing. Oh yeah, about not, when you're on a spiritual path, how there is this, we talked a lot about how when we're on a spiritual path, there is this feeling of sometimes of like ending up like putting yourself above other people, and how that is actually sort of a pitfall of being on a spiritual path. So anyway, it's interesting that now we're rolling right into the Aquarius topic in this Aquarius new moon, and of course being in Aquarius season, so there's a relationship across the wheel of stars between this Leo and this Aquarius, I think, in this way, at least how it came up for us, which is interesting. But here we go. This is the affirmation for water violet. It says, "My soul knows purity and containment. From this holy sanctuary, I seek connection. I recognize myself in the heart mirror of others. My gift is my presence in the world." And there's so much in this that is related to what we're going to talk about today. But again, it's like from this place, yes, of purity, containment, this holy sanctuary, from there, you're seeking connection. And your gift, so your service, what you give to the world, is in your presence in the world. So I just think that's a beautiful way to start this out with Aquarius, of, making change and opening up to what is new and what is possible for humanity as a whole, not just for individuals, but as individuals creating it. So I'm thinking about this inner purification and how that can make the space for healthy connection. And being present in the world is, yes, related to the change that the sign of Aquarius, the energy of Aquarius, is ready to usher in. But it must be through presence and actually being a part of the world that this can happen, which of course then requires this sort of constant back and forth of inner purification, because in being part of the world, I mean, you're faced with all of it. You're faced with anything in your own personal sort of astral emotional sphere that needs purification. You're faced with the collective, what needs purification, your karma from past lives. It all comes up. It all comes up from being in the world. And it's actually almost, in a way, or it definitely is, I would say, a more difficult path to forge that spiritual purifying, always like moving towards love and towards the light when you're walking in the world. Then if you were to seclude yourself and kind of go that route. So the water bearer of Aquarius brings healing to the world, but the water must be purified first. That's something that I wrote down here. So we talked too, we're using this time also to explore the virtues according to Rudolf Steiner, and this is my own personal journey actually in doing this with you, to explore each of the virtues and how it relates. And it's been so interesting to see, yes, like how it relates to the flower essences, how it relates to my previous understanding of these signs. And the one for Aquarius is, the virtue is discretion. And this virtue leads to the power of meditation. Discretion leads to the power of meditation. And I find this so interesting because, again, it's like that discretion, that's the purifying force, right? Like what needs to be transformed, what can stay, what must be kept at bay, and discerning these things for ourselves. And we are in the age of discernment. And what I have to say, especially coming from the place that I am with like what I've seen and, you know, the areas in which I've worked, especially, you know, in the tarot sphere as I have over the years, is that we have to really, really examine the spiritual information, the paths, and the practices that we engage with. Because there's a whole lot of chaos out there. And I think that, you know, this is part of it. This is part of our test. This is part of the time that we're in. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of influences. And we have this freedom to pick and choose what it is we let in and we take in. We're not just set on, okay, here is your certain path and this is all you can do. Not at all. Like, we're wide open and we're free. But the truth, yes, is there, but it's mixed up in all sorts of chaos and things that actually can lead us astray, which we're going to talk about later in a bit more detail. But I also wanted to read to you, you know, it's interesting. I didn't even intend this when thinking about this series, but I find it to be relevant to look at the light on the path, which is something that I'm personally working with as we go, because it seems like the things we talk about actually line up in order so far with things from the light on the path. So, you know, if it does work, then I'm going to bring it. So I felt the need today to check and say, okay, you know, last time we talked about the rule number 5, which was kill out all sense of separateness. And that was really interesting. We talked about that with the Leo full moon. And so now I want to read to you 6 and 7, and they kind of go together here. So 6 is kill out desire for sensation. 7, kill out the hunger for growth. And here's the explanation. Yet stand alone and isolated, because nothing that is embodied, nothing that is conscious of separation, nothing that is out of the eternal can aid you. Learn from sensation and observe it, because only so can you commence the science of self-knowledge and plant your foot on the first step of the ladder. Grow as the flower grows, unconsciously but eagerly anxious to open its soul to the air. So must you press forward to open your soul to the eternal. But it must be the eternal that draws forth your strength and beauty, not desire for growth. For in the one case you develop in the luxuriance of purity. In the other you harden by the forcible passion for personal stature. So in thinking about this, discretion leading to the power of meditation, I'm especially looking at this passage from The Light on the Path by Mabel Collins, if I didn't say that earlier. Thinking about in first using your discretion as to, you know, what is it that what path am I following, or what am I opening myself up to, or what are the forces in which, you know, I'm setting my intention to then kind of move into a practice of meditation, or whatever the practice is that is to pull you closer to spirit or help you raise yourself closer to spirit. In that choosing, it's about choosing the one that, like the sun to a flower, helps it to grow and bloom on its own. So I'm just going to read that part of it one more time because it's just such a beautiful image, actually. Grow as the flower grows, unconsciously but eagerly anxious to open its soul to the air. So must you press forward to open your soul to the eternal, but it must be the eternal that draws forth your strength and beauty, not desire of growth. So oftentimes I think we might be drawn to things that feel like, oh, that's going to get me there faster. Like that practice or that path, that is going to help me manifest my goal, or that is going to help me develop my psychic ability faster. It's going to bring it here fast. And that's not necessarily, that desire for growth and that desire for, whatever it is, climbing the ladder, that self-development, which, yes, it can come from a good place in us, but it can be distorted into actually wanting whatever it is, the, material, or the status, these things that are actually not spirit, that are not love, and that actually, in taking something that could be, actually, it is a more direct path, but it might feel slower. But it's like, if you're setting your sight on what it is that is pure and true, then that will actually take you there in a more direct way. But it might not be the flashy thing, and it might not be the thing that feels like it's giving you that like spiritual high, for example. I've actually learned to be pretty cautious of the feeling of a spiritual high. And that has to do too with the things that sort of can pull us out of our path, which we'll talk about really soon. It's on my list to talk about that today. But yeah, I just wanted to put that out there, being cautious of the things that feel like a spiritual high, and perhaps moving more towards the things that give you that sense of like a loving warmth instead of a spiritual high. Yeah. So I've pulled an oracle card as well today. And it always amazes me how much it lines up. But in thinking about spiritual development in community, so with others, not just, family, like your community of who you're born into, but actually in developing this new form of who do you, like, from your free will, choose to be around, to interact with, to do your work alongside with, and that sort of a thing, community. And the oracle card that I pulled, and this is from the Mother Mary Oracle by Alana Fairchild, is Our Lady of Sacred Sisterhood. And I thought, oh wow, okay, yes, this is about connection with others. So I'm going to read to you this first part, and then I'm going to read to you the meditation that goes along with it. So I invite you, if you want to take this in as a meditation, it's very short, but you can find your comfortable space, whether that's like, physically finding yourself in a comfortable place to take it in, or finding that inward space in order to receive it, or both. But here, I'll read the first part first, and you can find your way there, and then I'll let you know when the meditation is about to start. Our Lady of Sacred Sisterhood. I manifest in spirit and in flesh. I am the love that falls from the stars and the light of the sun that gives life. I am the warmth in the hug from your dearest friend. I am the scent of the rose and the roar of the lioness. I am the tender care in the touch of your loved ones. I come to you now in physical form. I bring you the gifts of loving and being loved, of speaking and being heard. Gosh, that's so beautiful. When I was it's so funny how it's like a conversation. It always is. But how I was trying to describe, like, okay, instead of a spiritual high, it's like a loving warmth. And then here we have the very description of, like, yes, this is it. I am the scent of the rose and the roar of the lioness. I am the tender care and the touch of your loved ones. So that so beautifully answered that. Okay. So here's the meditation. Before you stands a person covered in a robe. You might not see them clearly, but you can sense their energy. Notice how you feel about this person. This person is significant to your experience of relationship in this lifetime. You may recognize them as someone you already know, or someone you are yet to know. You may sense that they are going to leave your life, or are about to enter your life, or have just entered your life. They have been sent by the Divine Mother to help you heal. It is most likely through comfort, but could also be through challenge that your healing occurs. Say the following prayer to that person now. I honor the light within you, and I honor the light within me. I ask that the mercy of Mother Mary temper our karmic connection and infuse it with her grace. May we both be healed. So be it. Notice if any further interaction seems to take place, or if the connection remains as it is for now. Whatever happens or does not happen is perfect for you at this time. When you are ready, complete your healing process with this affirmation. Sacred relationship nourishes me into new life. With gratitude, I open up and let go. Under the grace and protection of the Holy Mother, who loves me unconditionally. Wow. Yeah. So welcome back from that, if you went there into the visualization. I know I normally do this to sort of close out what we're talking about, but I feel sort of called to talk about the other flower now, because it's so funny. Like I put these things side by side, and I sort of know what I'm going to do, but it isn't coming from a place of like, oh, this will lead into this and this will go well. It sort of just happens as we do it, which is amazing. But the flower, so the water violet flower that we first talked about, that is one of the Bach remedies, the 12 healers, which have been placed alongside the zodiac. So water violet was placed next to Aquarius. And then I personally have been working with the 12 core heart remedies from Flower Essence Society, which, by the way, also is who writes these affirmations. And so I, on my own, sort of chose, okay, wait, which flower goes along with which one? And so next to water violet, I placed, out of the 12 core heart remedies, Forget Me Not. And this is actually a flower that I've been working with. And this has to do with soul connections. And this has to do with, remembering things from past lives. Kind of remembering your connection to spirit if you feel disconnected from it. So it also, I think the reason why I put it with water violet is this feeling of finding connection from a place of perhaps feeling disconnection. And, yeah, so I'm going to read to you the affirmation for Forget Me Not. But I think it just goes so well with what we just received from that Mother Mary Oracle card, about like that soul connection that's coming in for a reason right now, or has been with us for a reason, and perhaps we're letting it go. Either way. But here is the affirmation from Forget Me Not. The garment of my soul is threaded with memory. My soul weaves between the life of heaven and earth. I remember and cherish all my soul family. This love illumines my life on earth. Oh, Amber, is that right? Forget-me-nots were a major flower your grandma and you planted every year. Is your grandma still with you, or has she passed on? Because that could, if she's passed, I mean, that's the other thing with the forget-me-not flower, is that connection to those who are in the spiritual realm too, who are walking with us, but maybe not in the physical sense. She's gone, yeah. So like, especially since you and she have that history with it, I feel like the forget-me-not flower could be such a beautiful way to continue that connection with her in a way. Something that I've heard, and I just thought this is so beautiful, this idea, is to read to your loved ones who have passed on. Like to read to them, like something you're interested in that maybe you're like, oh yeah, perhaps you would be too, or like perhaps you know more about this now being on the other side, or whatever it is, or something that reminds you of the connection, like reading to them. And that just always felt like a beautiful practice. Anyway, I just thought to bring that up. Yeah, I've been personally working with this essence, the Forget-Me-Not. So I have it. It's one of the ones I have and can always put into a blend or make a tincture of. But I've been working with it especially because I'm wanting to learn more about past lives. And yeah, I've had this. This has come up a lot recently, actually, about who my soul connections are. And really, I mean, we're surrounded by soul connections and we're surrounded by people that we have karma with. But I think in terms of, we're talking about discretion and we're talking about discernment. It's like discerning who is here as a lesson or kind of like a karmic something to work out, and who is here as sort of a soul family that we are, destined to do work together and to be alongside, have like a similar mission in mind and like do work together. In the actual like feeling of differences in those relationships, which of course could very much overlap, but also like on one hand, sometimes getting a little too entangled with things that we have maybe sort of karmic cloudiness or muddiness with could actually sort of slow us down. Is so having the discretion of like, okay, who is actually here to do work with me, and who is no longer, like maybe I need to keep out of certain parts of my life for protection, actually. So that is something that's come up a lot for me actually recently in the last few months. So I've been working with Forget-Me-Not, and my original intention to work with it was in learning about past lives. And I think what's actually come of working with it, now that I'm really sitting here and talking about it, has been actually about this discretion of like who's coming along with me in my work, or who do I need to kind of keep, maybe even keep, but like in a different area of my life, and what those kinds of differences and feelings of relationships are. So an example I have, actually, I had a friendship in the last few months that sort of, not in a terrible way, like it felt pretty peaceful, but pretty much dissolved. And it's interesting because I sort of came to it in a very different way than I have in the past with relationships, because although I'd felt very hurt by this person, by things that they had done, they were actually like really putting forth effort to make it right, and to, you know, tell me the things that could make it right. But I realized in them speaking to me about it, that that's what it was. It wasn't actually the truth. It was like, what can I say to make this right? Not actually, like, in their sort of, you know, it's like they're dealing with their own thing and their own past experiences and pain and all of that. And so they actually like gave me a lot of information in talking about it, and I saw it sort of actually kind of told on itself, where it's like, oh no, okay, this is for one, like, this is why we were friends in the first, like, why you wanted this friendship in the first place, and it doesn't actually have to do with valuing me. It has to do with other reasons. And in explaining this, you're kind of actually showing where you're not being entirely truthful. But instead of like pointing out those things, I just sort of felt like, okay, you know what? This isn't mine to untangle. The loving thing to do actually is just to, you know, let that be yours. So I didn't really continue to engage with that or untangle it, or because I could really work with that person, but it actually felt like, no, like, I actually think that in handing this back to you, that is the more loving thing to do. The other temptation that I had, which I think is how I would normally operate, is just to be like, actually, it's all fine, like, don't even worry about it, you know, which I think the past version of me would feel like that's the loving thing to do, but actually it's not, because it isn't helpful for that person, you know? I hope that makes sense. Yes, Amber. Oh, that would be cool. Yeah. Yeah, like a make your own blend. Yeah, cuz each one, I have a list of all of the ones that I have, and I think I put like sort of a brief, like, it's for, and it kind of has like a general, like, sort of couple words. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I did put that on the list. I have like a sheet. It's like under, we're talking about my Etsy shop if anyone's curious. On my Etsy shop I have flower essence blends, but I have a list of all the ones that I have, which are 60. I've got 60 different ones right now. So I've got the 38 Bach, and then I've got certain selections that I've chosen from FES, one from Alaskan. So that's my collection. And I have kind of like what they're for. But if you see one that's intriguing, then you can actually like look up more about it, you know, or we could talk about it too. I'm currently in a flower essence study group. A new one has formed, and it's just so special. It's so special talking to people and kind of, you know, like hearing other people's perspectives, and like, yeah, just like talking about the flowers. And then I feel like we sort of get to know them as friends. It's like, oh, we've invited them into this conversation. They're like a friend with us having a conversation, you know? But Amber, you're good. I mean, I sort of feel, because there's so many essences out there, and there's so much to learn. Just realizing, hey, it can be just a lifetime journey with the essences. There's no rush. We walk with them through different phases of our lives. The flowers, yes, again, they're like friends, and we'll have phases with different ones, and yeah, so there's no rush, and just like at the right time, I think it'll feel like, oh, hey, that's the right time. Like, I want to look at the essences and find the new friends from your own internal, like, knowing what it is that you know, go through each day, or like what phase of life you're in, and all of that. I'm so glad. Yeah, that's, you know, that's how I feel too, Amber. I had like, I was introduced to the essences from Pisces Pixie Lucy Pie on here, and I think I started taking Pine, and then I realized I had actually been taking Queen Anne's Lace. This is so interesting. I'd been taking Queen Anne's Lace for a long time, the essence, thinking it was an herbal tincture, but it was actually a flower essence. I was taking it for other reasons, but what the flower essence actually does is help develop your psychic ability, is like one of the things. And it's so interesting because like in the time period that I was taking that, unknowingly realizing that's what it was for, that's when I got really into the tarot and stuff like that. And when I first learned about essences from the other streamer, from Lucy Pie, it was pine that really called to me. Guilt. I was like, oh my gosh, I deal with guilt all the time. I think it's just like a type thing. Like, I think I might have to take pine my whole life. Pine was the other one. So I really initially was working with pine and Queen Anne's lace. And when I think about that, those two, and like how much they've really walked with me and how much it really has changed my life, is kind of incredible. But that was my first introduction. And then we moved to this community, got more involved in sort of like the Waldorf school community and things like that. And I had no idea that flower essences are actually a big part of the practices of people who are kind of in that realm. So that's when I met people who are like, you know, I have someone who lives down the street from me who's a practitioner. This is what she does for a living, and she just like makes blends for people. So I started mentoring with her, and study groups happen. This is my second flower essence study group. We're even talking about the one I've been mentoring with, she and I going to libraries and co-ops and doing like workshops about flower essences, because it's kind of it's not like a totally known thing, but in some circles it's widely used. So like I said, this kind of Waldorf spiritual community circle, it's widely used. It's so interesting. Anyway, that's very briefly my journey with it, but just to say, like, there's no rush. And if the flowers are calling to you, like, this might even become something that you're like, hey, I'm into this. Like, it's hard to not want to like make blends for all your friends and stuff like that when you really like see what they can do. So they're really special. You feel me on the guilt. Man, it is so true. That's why that pine one is in the motherhood blend, because I'm like, all mothers probably, and probably not all, probably there are probably some with like no feeling of guilt, which is amazing, but like it is so hard to like have full responsibility over another human being's life. Like I've felt guilty before that, and now it's like, I mean, you know, it's like the weight of every single thing we do. Anyway, how could we not deal with that as a presence? And none of us are perfect. So it's like, anyway, pine, it's a huge one for me, definitely. I'm just checking my notes really fast. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, we're going to get into the journal prompt soon, but I feel like this is a really good time to talk about the two different directions that we can be pulled in, sort of out of our path. And this is why discernment is really important. Discretion becomes the power of meditation. I'm seeing that my interpretation of that at this time is discretion on our spiritual path really is what, I mean, it's what does the most, it's what has the most effect actually, because it's like if we're going to spend our time doing a certain practice, we need to kind of know what energy is that coming from within me, like why do I want to do it, and what stream is this in, like what type of what is this? So the sneakiest thing that I think can pull us out is actually spiritual attainment for self-gain. That's on one hand. And that's what we see a lot of in the New Age stuff. And again, it's like very well-meaning. It's like, of course, we all have desires. We all have things we want to like manifest in our life, like manifest, or of course we have desires to grow spiritually, and that comes from a natural place, and that is, partially a good thing. But it's like, but what are we doing that for? Because if it's for ourselves, if it's so that we feel like a master of something, or we gain some kind of status, or like whatever it is, or like we feel good about ourselves, that can become that thing of like sort of separating yourself almost, like, oh, the other people who don't know about these things, you know what I mean? And in that, again, water violet would be helpful for that. Lotus, which we talked about in the last stream, it's so interesting how connected they are. I'm glad we're doing the full moon next to the new moon now, because wow. And yeah, so that's really easy to do. If we're on our spiritual path for self-gain. That's one of the sides. That's one of the pitfalls. That's one of the things that can pull us off. The other side, which, this is, I would think it's like, it's the polarity, right? So it's the other side. It's something that we're actually dealing with a lot in the world and in sort of society, and how it's going, and how an understanding of the world and like scientific materialism is developing. So we do encounter this all the time, even if we are spiritual. Everyone's a spiritual being, but like if we're on a spiritual path. And this other side is basically a denial of the spiritual world, and a feeling that the material, what we can see and what we can sense in the world is all that there is. And this is the side actually that worships money and power, because it's not that you don't have a God, it's that you've misplaced it, actually. Which is what's interesting. This is the side that worships money and power, and there's a lot of destruction that can come with that, and that's sort of what we're seeing in the world, and that's what we're facing in the world. So those are kind of the two different sides. One is spiritual attainment for self-gain, and the other is like total denial. And then there's this sort of middle path, like finding the middle, which has to do with, yes, acknowledging this higher force and moving ourselves towards it, but not for the sake of self, but for the sake of being in service. So we're going to do the journal prompt next, which I'll go ahead and get everything set up for that. So let's take a little break, and if you want to grab a journal, you can absolutely grab a journal, but this is kind of related to what we were just talking about. And this will be a journal prompt for the new moon in Aquarius, which, don't forget, is also a solar eclipse, which means, yes, focus on what is my inner light, and really keep that at the center as you work with this journal prompt. You can also work on anything you want. I think we'll probably do a good 30-minute sprint, is my thought. The motherhood is your favorite. Oh, it's so hard to choose. Oh, Amber, I'm glad you like that one. Yeah, it really, it first came from what I personally was using for myself, like in motherhood, and then I was like, you know what? These are universal experiences with mothers, and it's interesting because when I actually got the flower essence repertory, I don't think any of them are the ones listed under motherhood. And not to say that they did, I'm sure that they like chose wonderful essences, but I was kind of like, well, this was coming from a place of necessity, of like, I'm a mother and this is what I need. This is what I need. And I've adjusted it a little bit since then and learning about new essences, but I still think it's like, okay, yeah, that's where it came from. It actually came from a place of, I don't want to sound dramatic and say it came from a place of desperation, but it kind of did. It's like, this is what I need to like get through this like, not get through, but like to be my best self in this period of life. Okay, so we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to get us all set up for the journal prompt. I like to change the background and get things. I'm also going to set up my camera, I think, to show you some decks later. So let me see if I can get that all going. But yeah, so we'll take a quick break, and I will see you on the other side. Oh, and feel free, if you want to put in any Oracle card redemptions, please do so. I've got some new decks, so we can always do that. And you can kind of think about that on the break. So that's via channel points or via the Ko-fi shop. And yeah, all right, let's go. Okay. It'll be an 8-minute break. Hello everyone, Violet here, and welcome to my channel. Whether you're brand new here or a longtime subscriber, I started creating content in 2020. I started with planner content, Plan With Me live streams, and then I moved into reading tarot via live stream. If you want to book me privately for a private intuitive card reading, you can do so via my Ko-fi page. I decided to take my readings off stream so they'd be a bit more private, and I would love to meet with you. So you can get a reading from me via Ko-fi, and there are two options. You can get one that is a written or a video reading that I take your question on my own, I create it and get back to you. Or you can book me for an hour and a half and we will have conversation, go back and forth, and really try to get to the bottom of what it is you want to look at in your reading. So now I'd love to tell you about some of the other fun things that I offer and some of the membership tiers for the membership possibilities. So I've created an oracle deck and a booklet to go along with it, and that is available on the Game Crafter as well as some of my other creations if you want to check that out. And even more of my creations and offerings are available on my Etsy shop. So on Ko-fi, I have memberships for bonus spiritual content, and on Patreon, I have memberships for bonus creative content. But I thought I'd go through the different tiers of membership, starting with the cheapest option and then all the way up to the most supportive. So the basic Twitch subscription or YouTube membership is called Hummingbirds, and this also includes discounts in my Etsy and Ko-fi shops, as well as any entrance into giveaways if I do a giveaway, and access to a private Discord channel. And then, of course, if you subscribe on Twitch or become a member on YouTube, you also have access to emotes and badges and all of the fun stuff that comes with those types of memberships. Also, as part of the Hummingbirds tier and Birdie's Besties, which we'll get into in a second, and going up pretty much any of those, you have access to my full archive of YouTube videos. And I have over 200 videos that, I created along my journey that I've since narrowed it down on my channel to what I want to have public as like my public face. But if you want more personal videos and some really fun stuff like ghost hunting, things like that, as well as card readings for seasonal lunar phases, then those all open up as unlisted playlists, and it's available for all of the members on YouTube, Twitch, and Ko-fi. The next tier up is called Birdie's Besties. It's available on Ko-fi, and you get all of the same benefits as the Hummingbirds tier, except for the things that are specific to YouTube or Twitch, like the emotes and badges and that sort of thing. With this one, you get free oracle card readings. You ask a question, I'll pull you a card, we discuss, and that's available when I'm live on stream. And you can also get one per month messaged to you. You can send me your question and I'll message you an oracle card and we can talk about it each month. So next we have the Constellation Club tier, and this is for people who really want to get into developing themselves spiritually and learning about esoterica. I'm really into classical esoterica. I've created a bunch of resources and documents that's available for anyone on that tier, and writing and very helpful stuff, journal prompts for the different lunar phases and everything like that. And I also offer private live stream Q&As where we can talk about anything's on the table, spiritual topics. And I don't like to talk about some of this stuff publicly as much because it can go really deep and it can take time to explain, and it can also be confronting to people. But I do have this available for Constellation Club members. I am deep into years of research in classical esoterica and mysticism, and anytime I get 5 questions or more, I will do a live stream, up to one a month, and catch all of your questions. And there's a form that you can submit the questions through. You can use your username, or they can be anonymous, and you can submit as many as you want. So you can even submit 5 and we'll go live and we'll do a Q&A. And then anyone who's able to show up from the Constellation Club will also be able to ask questions during the Q&A as well. Constellation Club is available on Ko-fi, YouTube, and Twitch, and includes the benefits from the previous tiers. At the same price point, we have the Creativity Companions on Patreon. So on Patreon, you continue to get the discounts, entrance into giveaways, and that sort of thing. But this one is more on the personal and creative side. So you'll see updates on my art projects and creative stuff. But the biggest thing I offer on there too is access to my first novel that I actually wrote almost entirely on live stream and edited on live stream. So people here, you're all part of my journey with this as well. And the whole thing is available on Patreon, so you can read it, and it's organized by chapter. I also offer on here personal Q&A, so you can use a similar form to the Constellation Club to submit a question, and I will make a post or make a video or something like that on my Patreon to address the question, any reasonable question. And then we have the Card Slingers tier, which is my tarot course. And the Card Slingers membership is available on Ko-fi, YouTube, and Twitch, and includes the benefits from the previous tiers. I would love for you to be a part of my tarot course. As a tarot reader with many years of experience, I've read for hundreds of people, I've built up a tarot business both online and in person. This has really been the culmination of how I see the system and how I can see it being the most graspable, especially if you're new, and also going deep for if you're already a seasoned reader as well. So this is available as a $25 per month membership. All of the links and details are down below. It's really something that you could choose to go all the way through and complete in 1 month, or you could have access to it as long as you'd like. This includes 22 video lessons in which we'll go through each of the cards of the major arcana, but then also the cards themselves, the characters of the cards, the archetypes of the cards, they have something to teach us about the rest of the tarot system. So we learn the entire system of tarot, as well as techniques for giving readings, building a business, creating spreads, choosing a deck, all sorts of things like that included on this journey in a very organic way that follows the system of the tarot itself. Each lesson also includes a summary and some journal prompts and reflections and activities that if you then email to me, you will earn a certificate at the end. Also included is access to a private forum just for Card Slingers students on my Discord, beautiful Discord community, where you can chat with people, you can chat with me, you can discuss what you're learning, and you can also read for each other and do some practice sessions. Also included in this are all of the benefits from previous tiers. All right, thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you being a part of the channel and, supporting in any way, whether that's engagement or being in the community on Discord or, supporting in some of these bigger ways. All of it means the world to me, and just thank you so much for being along this journey with me. I will see you next time. Okay. Just adjust this really fast. Welcome back. So we have here a new moon in Aquarius journal prompt. If you want to get your journal, you could write it down for later if you would like, or get started on it. And also a deck of cards, because we also have a card pull. So this new moon is upcoming. We're prepping for it. It's going to be on Tuesday. And this, has a lot to do, I think, in a practical way, this prompt, with how we can put ourselves and our gifts, our capacities in service of others, in service of the new communities that we are building in a way, however that means to you. So it's important to, number one, acknowledge the gifts and capacities that you have as real and as valuable. And then number two, it's important to put them into service instead of self-gain. So here we go. Our prompt for the new moon in Aquarius is: in what ways do you talk the talk but not yet walk the walk? Do you complain? Do you wish for change? Note some of the frequent things you talk about or think about. Is there something that you value highly and wish for in the world that you can begin to offer the community around you? What is the first step you can take this moon cycle? And our card pull is, what is something I value and could be living more fully? Okay, so let me get the view on here with the timer. There we go. I wonder, is that gonna work? Yes. Okay, so let's see. How long should we do? Why don't we do 20 minutes? I'm trying to remember how long we did it last time. I also want to set the category differently. I think I have to go to another browser to do it. Let's see if this works. Should it have me logged in? Is the sound off? Okay, great. Okay, here we go. I'm switching us to the writing category. Fantastic. Okay, that should have worked. Oh, yay! Yes, I hope work is going well too, Amber. Oh, I realize I'm streaming at, on a different day, and I think this is actually a day that's going to work a lot of times upcoming, at least for the rest of the semester, is Friday. Okay, but yeah, if you want to join us too, if you've got a task that you're doing, that 20 minutes sounds like a good idea. If you want to set a goal, Amber, you can totally work with us, of course. You're here with us. Oh, let me put on the music too. Okay, so let's say 20 minutes. Get the music going again. Great. Timer. Okay, it started. All right, I will see you all on the other side. Let's do it. All right, we are done. Let me know how that went for you. If you did do the journal prompt, if you have any thoughts about it. So for myself, with the card pull question, I pulled the Knight of Swords in reverse. And I'll share with you a little bit about what I wrote down here. So what is something I value and could be living more fully? And with the Knight of Swords in reverse, it's interesting because it's almost like a double negative that's happening here. But what I'm saying is speaking not for self-gain. Because I think of that with the Knight. The Knight has a lot of sort of like ego and like self-mastery and it is a more like self-oriented archetype. The Knight can be, and then also can become, the potential for the Knight is to become like a helpful, like selfless hero, really. So that's possible. And then of course the swords being in the air, the sign of air, which is also Aquarius too. So then I made a list here, which is, well, how do I speak for self-gain? And I guess what I mean is like, how do I use my words in ways that actually it's not because I'm trying to help and transform things around me, it's for other reasons that have to do with centering myself. And so I made a very honest list, and I'm just going to share it with you. These are ways that I do, and these are ways that I can work on. So to not feel awkward is the one that I wrote down. So to fill the space, oversharing or overanalyzing with myself at the center. So kind of talking about myself, like overly, like talking about my experiences and like wanting to analyze them, but maybe it's actually like, oh yeah, I want this conversation to be about me. Maybe that's actually behind it. To prove that I know something. I mean, sometimes I have this sort of like an imposter syndrome sort of a feeling, or like I need to like kind of like prove that I can hang in a conversation, you know what I mean? To satisfy an intellectual inquiry that lacks a living experience. And I think this is something, as we're coming out of the age of the intellectual soul and towards the age of the consciousness soul, like this is something collectively too that we're dealing with, but I certainly see it in myself. And here's one I've really, really been working on, this one, and this one's actually pretty hard. Gossiping to satisfy an annoyance and see if other people feel similarly. Like, it's really hard. If I feel annoyed by something, or if I feel like I have to get that validation of like, yeah, someone, or like get off of like, this is, this, we feel similarly, it's like something about that. So I've really, really been struggling with this one. And actually, by struggling, I mean, actually, like I have definitely made progress with this one, but sometimes I realize like, oh, there are certain people where that's just the pattern that they fall into. Nothing against them. I've been there. I've done that. But it's actually difficult to stand in this and be in conversations where like maybe in the past, actually, we have spent a lot of time talking about other people, just to be honest. And then what I also wrote down was white lies for convenience's sake. And I realized that I've really also been working on like being more truthful, or being truthful, just like always telling the truth. And realizing how many white lies is just so easy, and how often like I probably like didn't even realize how much I would do that. Just like kind of tell a white lie for whatever reason is convenient. Maybe it even is simply because like, oh, like the other way I would have to like explain far too much, and it's easier just to say this. Or like, oh, I'm trying to get out of something, but actually it's because I'm like lacking the boundary, or lacking, you know what I mean? So it sort of exposes a lot if you take away the option of a white lie. And that's just my list so far. So hopefully, I was just like, let's be really honest. So hopefully this is something helpful and something that, many of us can relate to. So then I wrote, I can give to the community myself, standing in my higher I. my higher self, and always being truthful. And I think just doing that really, that can do a lot. And in a way, that's the first step. So that's where I'm at with that. And that's what I interpreted the Knight of Swords in reverse as, just to give you a feel for, a way to work with this journal prompt and the card pull. So yeah, we've covered a lot of ground today. And I definitely see the relationship of all of it. And yeah, it's like we're in this time of great change in the world. And we're rethinking how the world can operate. But it really starts with the very communities that we surround ourselves with, and what new possibilities of health we can create within them. And it starts with ourselves, actually. It starts with that inner work. And that's why I love Aquarius, how it has both the individual and the community. So it's the individual within the community. And what is that? What does that mean? So yeah, thanks for talking about Aquarius. And happy upcoming new moon. And keep your light shining bright this solar eclipse on Tuesday. Amber, you're driving and listening. You relate to everything I wrote. Oh, thanks for sharing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for saying that. I mean, it's kind of, I was like, well, I'm just going to read these things a lot, because it is quite difficult in some ways to see these things about ourselves, and they're right in front of us. They're always with us. But like it's kind of tricky to be like, yeah, you know what? Like, sometimes I do just want the conversation to be about me, or sometimes I actually like really crave like that feeling of gossiping about someone. And that's like, it's not the prettiest thing to expose. So yeah. I was wondering if I could, let's see if this will work. Because I haven't set up my double camera in a while, and I have it plugged in here, and I kind of want to see if this will work. Okay, let's see. 2 views with time. Let's just go to 2 views. Let's take away the journal prompt. Not quite. Okay, is there another one? 2 views with timer. I'm trying to see if I can get the view, my downward view. Let's see if I unplug it and replug it in. Downward view down at the table, because I've got some new decks to show you. That didn't work. Okay, it's not lit up. It's not blue. Background. Is this it? No. Is this it? Yes. Done. Okay. There we go. Well, I don't know what I did. I don't know what I did, but here we go. Let me adjust it. You all, I have some new decks. They're gifts from Glamburger. Birthday present. And I think Christmas present too, which we hung out last night. So it came on almost Valentine's Day, and her birthday's up next. And let me just say, Glamburger is like the best gift giver in the whole world. And I just always feel so bad that I'm like not, you know how we all have different like love languages and gifts? I feel like I'm kind of lame. I'm kind of lame at giving presents. This is my day of just like telling you all my flaws. I feel like I'm kind of lame giving presents, especially in comparison to Glamburger, who gave me this Larimar necklace, which is the Atlantis stone. Look at this. And it's like the shape of, the cartoon Atlantis movie where they have like the wall, like the crystal necklaces. It's like that shape, and it's Larimar, which is the Atlantis stone, and I'm kind of obsessed with Atlantis. So for one, she gave that to me recently, and if that wasn't enough, and I wear this every day, if that wasn't enough, she's given me 2 decks. So we've got the Rumi Oracle from Alana Fairchild, which, this is the same author who made the Mother Mary Oracle that I'm obsessed with and use every single stream. And my other favorite deck maker, Rebecca Campbell. the Inner Temple Oracle. So I thought that we could go through these and take a look at them. And if anyone has, if you want an Oracle card and you could choose from one of these two, then you could do an Oracle card redemption by channel points or via Ko-fi. It's available for Ko-fi members on Ko-fi. So if you want one, you can go ahead and we can use that as an example. But yeah, so let's go through them. So this is the Rumi Oracle by Alana Fairchild. Who's probably next to Rebecca Campbell, my very favorite. So I think Alana would be number one. Rebecca Campbell number two, my favorite deck author. And this is Rumi Oracle, and actually, like, I've been interacting with Rumi a lot more lately than I ever have, and there's so much wisdom in Rumi's writings. So I'm so excited. Actually, I have not seen an unboxing of this. I don't know what it's going to look like. It's a different box, interestingly enough, from the other. Oh wait, I'm thinking of Rebecca Campbell. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. This is Alana Fairchild. Alana Fairchild made my favorite deck that I always use, the Mother Mary Oracle. So yeah, let's take a look. It says an invitation into the heart of the divine. Rumi Oracle. I am the fortunate one, cherished in the heart of the great beloved. It's sort of like an extra card here at the front. Okay, well, why don't we look at the booklet first? So here it is. The first look. Like I said, I haven't even looked in these yet. Okay, amazing. Wow, so it looks like each of these. So this is the first one. We've got an image of the card. We've got a poem from Rumi, and then we've got a description, which is about, like a little over 2 pages, and then a sacred honoring ritual. Cool. So we'll have to choose a card and like look at one of these as an example for sure. Wow. So it's got those in colored images for the whole deck. Gorgeous. That's the artist, Rasuli. Awesome. So a lovely booklet here. And the cards. The cards themselves. Okay, so they're nice and thick, and we'll shuffle them when we choose one. But here's the back. Kind of beautiful and simple. Ornately simple. Okay, so let's just go through each one. So we have, oh, maybe I should start from the beginning. That was number 44. Okay, let's start with number 1. Beyond death, life. Passion for purpose. The dissolving light. The cloak of Christ. I surge on the uprising wave of love. I just realized we should probably be in the tarot category. Let me quickly switch us. Hopping categories, you know? This is fun. Okay, cool. We switch categories. All good. 1. Blood Angel. Cosmic Heart. The impossible made possible. Celestial Rose of Ma. Sacred convergence. Did I miss a 12? Is it under that? Divine discontent. I knew I missed one. I was like, I feel it. Divine discontent. Arise. Let love transform. Divine Mother manifests. From nothing to everything. The human gift. A new gown. Sacred union. The all-encompassing hand. Sacred phoenix heart. The lion and the deer. Star Mother Arrakis, if I'm saying that right. Resplendent with grace. Beyond the threshold of fear. Al-Uzza, star of wisdom. Sorry, star of Venus, maybe wisdom too. Wow, look at that image. These really are beautiful. The angel Rosbar, if I'm saying that right again, but like, look at that. Look at that image. If you have a favorite card, definitely let me know. Enter the Garden of Delights. The right choice. Whirling goddess. Commitment. Whoa, look at this one. She offers the sacred wine, so drink. Oh my. I wonder what that one's about. You who show the way. Layla. The lover and the beloved. Passion of the wild red mother. Sacred soul sister. The courage of your love. Blessing of Zara. Blessing of Al-Hakim. Victory of Mariam. I hope I'm saying all this right. Dance of the divine feminine. Hand of Fatima. And merciful mother Jamal. Okay. Let's get a good example one. So we'll see how it shuffles. I think it feels similar to the Mother Mary Oracle to me, if you have that. Lovely. Okay, so this is for anyone watching. What do we need to hear? Oh, let's get 1, 2, and then 3. Divine discontent. Whoa, it's so interesting we pulled this because that was the one that was like hiding as we went. You know what I mean? Like like I almost, hey, maybe if I hadn't realized that I didn't show it, then it would have popped up here and we would have seen it either way. So this is number 12. Sacred number, have to say. Divine discontent. Okay, here's the Rumi poem. It says, winter falls upon us. And hey, it's deep winter right now, at least where I am. Winter falls upon us, so spring can bring new growth. Cry the tears. Allow the longing. Sadness brings surrender and a deep desire to be free. I feel like that's for the world. Like that's the collective right now. Okay, so here's the description. I know your heart. I hear it breaking and groaning in darkest night when you imagine yourself to be silently cast adrift in sleep. It speaks to me, that sacred heart of yours, whispering its longing and bemoaning its divine discontent. It knows when something is amiss. It senses that something is not quite right as yet. There is a piece of the puzzle missing. Even in its tremendous gratitude for all there is, and there is much gratitude and sweet appreciation in that precious heart of yours, there is a murmuring, a questioning. It cries out to heaven, vouchsafe me a blessing. I cannot go on. I am broken and in need of your tenderness of healing. I am empty and in need of filling, not with stuff and bits, but with the most precious nectar of divine fulfillment. Nothing else will satisfy me. Please, please restore me to wholeness. I can bear this missing piece, this broken disarray no longer. I listen, I cajole that wise heart of yours. I praise it for its honesty and longing, for the longing is an irresistible perfume to the beloved, attracting the only salve that will soothe the divine discontent of your truth-speaking heart, that of divine presence, absolute and unquestionable. There is a sense within you, perhaps quite obvious to your conscious mind, or perhaps only dimly registered as an unnameable underlying sense of anxiety, that something in your life is not quite right. It may be the sense, even amongst so much gratitude, of a yearning yet to be met, a longing yet to be fulfilled and satisfied. This is the pain of an awakening heart. The heart is capable of bliss and ecstatic reverence for the sheer beauty and wonder of creation. Yet, as the heart matures, there will be a process of deep, passionate longing that awakens for the divine. It is the impatience for the caress of the great lover, for the presence of the divine to come to you. Over time, that longing will grow from a mild inner sense of incompleteness, needing to become whole. It will develop into holy fever, a sacred rage, a stamping of dancing feet, a pounding of fists upon the altar, and a longing so deep and distressing that one may well break into tears at the impossibility of bearing the pain, so apparent separation for even a moment longer. The pain of apparent separation. Where is my beloved? Cries the awakening heart. I call for my beloved, and yet I am here still waiting. I can stand this no longer. As devotion grows and passion for the divine intensifies, so too does this yearning. So much so that this may come to feel as though your heart is breaking for the divine. Or perhaps you are not quite there yet. Your heart is attached to smaller gods, such as your status, your job, your lover, your body looking a certain way, or being able to live your life in a particular way. These smaller gods are not necessarily an issue, yet you have drawn this oracle, so it is guidance for you that the divine wants to draw you closer. Sometimes that means we will have the meager meal wrested from our hand, so we may feast upon something far more delectable and grand. The divine is a fiercely possessive lover. If there is a face of another beloved preventing you from longing for the divine embrace, and if you cannot see that it is the divine beloved within your lover that you are loving, well then, something must be done by heaven. So make your relationships sacrosanct. Seek the divine in all things. When you cannot, when the power of lesser gods has you in its grip, acknowledge it. Bear witness to it. Do not chastise. Instead, be truthful. Let your heart break and lie prostrate on the floor, hands clutching and head bowed, as though your only sadness and plight could stir the heart of the divine beloved into descent of succor and grace, saving you from a life far too bland for your exquisite Epicurean palate. What words in this? Oh my goodness. Just don't misinterpret the pain and think that something really is wrong. If you are surrounded by status and money and cannot understand why you should mourn, it is even more important that you allow yourself to do so. Mourning is to be felt. Understanding is not so relevant. But if you must seek understanding, then know this, dear blazing angel, you are just waking from the deepest slumber, and with your awakening heart, you are realizing a truth. A part of you, deeper and wider, vaster and more instinctive, truthful and intelligent than your mind. It is lonely for this divine embrace. This is right. This is simple. This is sanity. It is the pain, the real noble pain of the heart that says, there's something more than this inadequacy, this settling for plastic instead of precious gemstones, that must end now. I cannot be fed by pixelating sunsets and animation upon my computer screen. I yearn to be blasted by so much radiance and beauty, by the real thing, that I become stupefied. I must witness so much divine splendor that all I can utter is some incoherent grunt. My mind disassembled, my heart ignited by the presence of my beloved. I want to become a fumbling, ecstatic wreck in the presence of my beloved. I want to allow this pain, this yearning, this divine discontent to guide me to my holy lover so that life may never be the same again. And so it shall be. This discontent divine growing within you is the beginning, not the destiny. Its purpose is to lead you into your greatest your greatest connection yet with divinity. Do not resist it. Witness it. Do not dismiss it, trying to cover up its smell with rose petals. Let your rank discontent be the pathway to divinity. Look beyond what it is, what has been prized and treasured, and is now found to be plated and not the precious gold it was once esteemed to be. Don't be scared, for you are my sidekick on this great holy adventure. I am here, you see, just around the corner. I have you in my sights, though you may not see me yet. I am holding a loaf of fresh bread, hot from the kitchen of the Creator, hoping to entice you with its wafting scent, tempting you to follow me on towards something of far more substance. If you are still stuck on pine-scented air freshener, imagining it is anything akin to the wild scent of the pine forests for real, then how can I tempt you? Let the stench be the stench, then the fragrance of God can be discerned, and together we can leave what is less behind, once and for all, grabbing like hungry school children for the divine bread with sweet, fresh scent filling the air. And your sacred honoring ritual is: place one hand on your heart and one on your belly, and say the following aloud. Rumi, who loves me unconditionally, guide me now. I acknowledge the gratitude in my heart, genuine and fierce, and I acknowledge the hunger for the divine unfolding in my belly and urging forward towards some unknown, indescribable, sacred satiety. That's how you say that. Guide me to the holy table where the true feast awaits. I am no longer satisfied by stale crumbs or the remnants of another's feast. I want to feast with the Holy One, the Great One, to know directly and for myself that I am divine. With your mercy, grace, and wisdom, guide me there. Dearest brother of my soul, I cast my soul into your care and follow my nose. I follow my nose toward the sweetest scent of the holy feast. Rest or stand up and dance your prayer. Just be with your body and how it wants to be, to rest or move now. Whatever you choose, stay with your breath and with what feels truthful. Say aloud, I release that which is not worthy for my soul to feast upon. I do not decide this for myself from a place of distrust or judgment. I surrender my attachment, and I trust in the sacred workings of life to present me what is needed. I surrender in sacred trust. I surrender. May my life be governed by love, for the greatest good and in holy service to love now, so be it. And you have finished your sacred honoring ritual. What a deck. What a message. Let me know what you think of this deck. I really love it. Thank you so much, Glamburger, for this gift. And thank you all for walking through it with me and experiencing it. I felt like there was so much in there that was relevant to what we were talking about earlier. I don't know if you all felt that way, but I'm just, well, like, whoa, like blown away. We've got another deck to look at too, you guys. It is a good day. And if you want this next deck, which is the Inner Temple Oracle, if you want one for yourself, feel free to redeem a card. You can redeem it via channel points, or if you're a Ko-fi member, you can go hop on the Ko-fi shop and get one. Just let me know in the chat if you got one. Oh, you're good, Amber. No worries. I'm going to be using this deck for sure. So you are, you know, you're not missing anything. It's going to come back. Oh, I'm all out of coffee. It's like reaching for my cup, like, oh, please. Okay. All right. So this is the Inner Temple Oracle with artwork by Katie Louise, and it's by Rebecca Campbell, which is, oh my goodness, like one of my very, very, very favorites. I love her Rose Oracle, her Water Oracle, the Ancient Stones. Those are the three ones that I have. Yeah, so, oh, got little pieces of wrapper. I unwrapped this. This is from Glamburger, a present. Thank you, Glamburger. I'm so excited to take a look at it. And the first thing, and I haven't opened it yet or watched an unboxing video, so this is all new. Hi, Lars. Welcome in. My husband's in the chat. So the first thing is, okay, I see this here on the back. The other boxes by Rebecca Campbell had this really interesting sort of V shape in them that you could like use the cards in an interesting way. And I'm seeing that there's something about this, but it's different. It looks different than those. So let's see if we can figure it out. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm opening it. Oh. There's like a frame which opens and no way. Look at this. There's a frame. How cool. So you can like stand this up. I hope you can see this. Like you can stand this up on your desk. It looks like you can like slip a card in there. That's from the other deck. But it looks like you could probably just slip a card right in there and like have it as a frame. Amber. All right, we will pull the card for you. Our example card is going to be for Amber. The Etheric Lars. Lars is new. New as of probably like over a year ago, actually. So, but he's been less in the chat. But it was really good to see you, Lars. Okay, so this is more than an oracle box. Got instructions about that. We've got the attunement. So I'll have to tune up the oracle. Oh, it's different. You can find an attunement meditation video. Oh, that's different. The other ones came with like a card that was an attunement. Okay, so that's interesting. And here are the cards. These are the backs. Definitely a very different color scheme than the other ones have been that feel a little more like watercolory from Rebecca Campbell. This one feels a bit more like yeah, I don't know, it's darker colors. It's a bit more like graphic feeling. And all right, yeah, let's do a walkthrough and then we'll pull a card for Amber as our example card. Okay, so we've got Chamber of Forgiveness, Chamber of Healing, Chamber of Innocence, Chamber of Inspiration, Chamber of Manifestation. Are these all chambers, I wonder? The chambers in the inner temple. That's what it is. I knew it. Chamber of Power. I get it now. Chamber of Protection. Chamber of Soul Contracts. Chamber of Soul Gifts. Chamber of Surrender. Chamber of Transformation. Let me know if you have a favorite card, by the way. Ancestral Healing. The Beauty Way. Oh, we just changed. No more chambers. We're in a different category now. The Ceremony of Life. Golden. These two are stuck together. The In-Between. Life Force. Mercy. Okay, that's one card. These are very thick, these cards. Sensuality. Like, I keep feeling like I've picked up two. That gives you an idea. Soul Retrieval. The Tall Poppy. Unhookable. That sounds nice. The Burning Rose. Create Some Space. The Darkest Night. Deeper Than Before. The End Is Also the Beginning. The Golden Thread. The Holiest Temple. I like this one. Just watch me. The Masks We Wear. Projections. Simplicity. Aligned. Whoa, look at this. Or misaligned. That's creative. Wait, there are a bunch of these like this. I love being surprised, like not looking at this stuff first. Okay, connection, separation. Destiny life, fated life. Feminine, masculine. Freedom, trapped. Inner spring, inner autumn. Inner summer, inner winter. These are cool. I like that idea. Let go. Hold on. The mystic. The machine. No to the machine, you all. No machine. Plenty. Scarcity. The seen. The unseen. Yeah, so let's take a look at the booklet and then we'll pull a card for Amber. So here's the booklet, the guidebook. It shows how this stands, this box. It's a cool new design. I like this design because it's great. You could put this on your altar. Like, that is very useful wherever you read. You've got the different suits: a chamber suit, activation suit, soul inquiry, polarities. I think we definitely felt those being different, and then I guess those two, there's different qualities there as well. Here's the attunement. You got to do the video. Oh, no, it's got it. It's got it here. You hold it to your body, to your heart, and so you say, I activate and step into my inner temple now, portal of my heart, home of my soul. Through the portal of my heart, I connect to my inner temple. Sacred below me, sacred above me, sacred around me, sacred within me. I activate the wisdom and power that has always been deep within. May these cards deliver clear messages and reflections to me and all who use them for the highest interest of all. I am guided. I am led. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we got some spread options, and so each one has about a page here with like a black and white picture and the information, and an inner temple activation or soul inquiry. Cool. So let's take a look. So this is for Amber. What message does Amber need to hear today? This will be our example. 1, 2, 3. Simplicity. Oh, and look at that rose. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for this message. I want it. I want this message too. Simplicity. Okay, I'm assuming this is in alphabetical order. It isn't. It's in order. Maybe it's in alphabetical within each suit. I wonder if I can tell. Okay, simplicity. There it is. All right, Amber, here you go. The days of hustle and burnout must come to an end. There's no sustainable growth waiting for us there, only exhaustion and the depletion of what's most precious. Those who choose potency over mass production, heart over head, slow over driven, will be the ones who flourish and lead. I can see this for you, Amber. I know you work, you have to work a lot, but finding that simplicity within it. I know I'm interrupting in the middle of it, but I really relate this too. Potency over mass production. I'm like kind of a do person. So like I need to hear this as well. Release all the time wasting, energy wasting, and resource wasting. While in the past they got you ahead, now as we enter this new quickening paradigm, they'll become less and less productive and effective. The earth is making sure of it. Anything that's unsustainable will not flourish. This is the law of the earth. You'll be rewarded for simplicity, praised for potent authenticity. Be the creative, the human, the mystic, the dreamer. Don't succumb to feeding the more machine. Don't waste the seeds you came here to plant. Peel back the unnecessary outgoings. Keep things potent and free. Anything that traps anything that traps you disconnects you from the sacred pulse of life. Your energy, your life force, your love, your time are the most valuable resources there are. I want to add your attention. This is for everyone. I've been thinking of this lately. Your attention, what you put your attention onto, is the most valuable resource, and it's a fought over resource, I would say. Protect them and treat them like the precious resources they are. This is how you'll acquire true wealth. This is how you'll flourish. This is how you'll receive deep soul satisfaction. This is how to truly live. Here's the soul inquiry. So take this, anyone, if this message is, feels relevant to you. What in your life is overcomplicated or draining your energy? How can you make things a little simpler? I bet we all need to hear that living in this world, honestly. Amber, thank you for letting us pull a card for you. There's that image. I hope you all like this deck, and thank you, Glamburger. Thank you, Glamburger, for the birthday present. I love it. I'm so grateful. And thank you all for walking through it and taking a look at it with me. So this is the box. And we can actually put, the card that we just drew into, oh wow, it almost, this is interesting, you all, it kind of doesn't quite fit in the frame. So part of this review is like, wait a second, why does this not exactly fit in the frame? It can hold it, like it's holding it up. It's like a magnet is what's doing it. But yeah. Does it go on the top? Oh, thank you. Okay, Amber, thank you. You're saving this review. You're totally right. It goes in the top and then it's framed. Hold on. I gotta straighten it out. Thank you. That's me just being like, wait a second. I can't just set this in here. No, that totally works. I just got it kind of crooked. Okay, there we go. Look at that. That totally works. And you get it even more perfectly in there. Thank you, Amber. It is so pretty. That really, okay, now I love it. Now I'm in love with the box again. This is awesome. The perfect thing to like have on, you know, your altar or your sacred space of any kind, your desk. Cool. Let me know what you think of it. You all, I actually do have to run to go pick up my son from his kindergarten playgroup program. So this has been amazing. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to be editing down our message and posting it as a podcast episode. Definitely, you know, go to YouTube, check that out. I'm going to also post these deck reviews. And my plan is to have videos going out this month every Saturday. I think we'll be able to do that. And then on 2 weeks from now, hopefully, I need to check my calendar. I guess it's sitting right here. 2 weeks from now, hopefully, would be the next full moon. Prepping for the next full moon, which is February, probably on a Friday just like this. If not, then maybe a Saturday. So I'm going to say probably, oh, I think it would have to be the Friday. Yeah, that's the goal. Virgo full moon, it's looking like. Hopefully that Friday the 27th is when I hope to be here next. But thank you all so much. I don't think I have time to do a raid because I got to run to pick up my son. But so much appreciation and love. Have a wonderful new moon. Thank you for being here with me. And I'll see you next time. Thank you, Amber, too, for hanging out. All right, bye, everyone.